Mark 10 is the words of Jesus, verses 8 and 9. Jesus quotes Genesis 2:24. For Jesus, this verse was the most fundamental verse about marriage in all of the Bible. This was Jesus' foundation stone for the beginning of all of His teachings about marriage. Verse 8, Mark 10. The two shall become one flesh. So, Jesus says, they are no longer two, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let no man separate. That's huge. Do you feel the weight of that?
God will bring you into a relationship with someone, most of the time, who is not only not compatible with you, but is weak, tremendously weak, in the very areas where you would most want them to be strong. Now, why does He do that? I'll tell you why. Remember our text, Romans 8:28 and 29. What is the goal of everything God does in His providence for His children? To conform them to the image of Christ. Now, when you think of the image of Christ, what are some characteristics that just automatically spring to the forefront? Well, for me, 3. Unconditional love, mercy, and grace. If I could pick out 3 things in which they told me, you can imitate Christ in these, that's what I think about. Unconditional love, mercy, and grace. Now, I have some things here I want to just go ahead and read that I've written out so I get them right. Let me ask you a few questions. How would you ever learn unconditional love if you were married to someone who met all the conditions? Question. How would you ever learn mercy, patience, long-suffering, heartfelt compassion if you were married to someone who never failed you, who was never difficult with you, who never sinned against you, who was never slow to acknowledge their sin or ask for forgiveness? How would you ever learn grace, to pour out your favor on someone who did not deserve it if you were married to someone who was always deserving of all good things? Do you see that? Listen to me. The main purpose of marriage is that through your marriage you become conformed to the image of Jesus Christ. Marriage, I believe, is the greatest instrument of sanctification. You are married to a person who does not meet all the conditions so that you might learn unconditional love. You are married to a person who needs mercy so that you learn to give it. You are married to a person who does not deserve so that you learn to pour lavishly yourself out on a person who does not respond appropriately, and thus you become like the God you worship. You see, you worship God for these things, but you don't want to give them to others. You worship God for grace, but you demand that your wife live in such a way that she not be in need of it. You worship God for unconditional love, but you get mad at your own wife when she doesn't meet the conditions. Do you see?